OxyShred is sold in 3 major versions in North America: non-stim, hardcore, and ultra concentrated. I've laid out the ingredient differences between all 3 in the chart shown here. The ingredients are listed alphabetically, with green highlighting ingredients that appear across products, and red squares marking what's missing. For this review, we're looking at the original OxyShred Ultra Concentrated and asking a simple question: do the ingredients it uses actually do much for weight or fat loss? One of its main ingredients is acetyl L-carnitine, which is a modified form of L-carnitine. While the two sound similar, they don't behave the same way in the body. Acetyl L-carnitine is better known for its effects on the brain and nervous system, and has mostly been studied for things like nerve pain and cognitive function. Many supplement companies blur the line between acetyl L-carnitine and the more popular L-carnitine, and assume that any benefits seen with regular L-carnitine must also apply here, but this isn't true. In studies, regular L-carnitine has been linked to small amounts of weight loss, while acetyl L-carnitine has not. So even though OxyShred Ultra Concentration contains a form of carnitine, it's not the one that has been shown to help with metabolism or fat loss. By the way, I review a lot of supplements here, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated, and support me on Ko-fi if you enjoy the content. Another ingredient is bitter orange extract, which became popular after ephedra was banned for safety reasons. Bitter orange contains a stimulant called synephrine, which is chemically similar to ephedrine and can raise heart rate and blood pressure. It's often advertised as a fat-burning ingredient because it slightly increases heat production in the body, but that effect doesn't translate into real-world weight loss. In clinical studies, synephrine consistently shows cardiovascular side effects without producing meaningful fat loss or exercise benefits. Caffeine is probably the most familiar ingredient in OxyShred. It can help you feel more alert and slightly boost exercise performance, which is where most of its weight loss value comes from. On its own, caffeine only leads to small changes in fat loss, and those mostly happen because people move more or train harder when they take it. OxyShred provides about 150 milligrams per serving, which is roughly what you get from 1 or 2 cups of coffee. Chromium is often marketed as a blood sugar regulator, but its weight loss benefits are limited. In people with insulin resistance, such as those with diabetes or PCOS, chromium can slightly lower blood sugar and lead to small amounts of weight loss, usually about 1 to 2 pounds over a few months. For people without those conditions though, chromium doesn't seem to make much difference at all when it comes to losing weight. Conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, is a type of fat that has been studied for its potential to reduce body fat. Some research suggests it can lead to very small improvements, typically only 2 or 3 pounds over 6 to 12 months, but the overall real-life effects are modest and may not be noticeable. On top of that, the effective doses are measured in grams, and OxyShred doesn't contain nearly enough CLA to match what was used in those studies. Garcinia Cambogia is a tropical fruit extract that's often promoted as an appetite suppressant. While a few studies have shown small weight loss effects, those results only appear at very high doses, around 5 grams per day of a standardized extract. Lower doses don't perform any better than a placebo, and most supplements, including OxyShred, don't come close to providing that much. Then there's grapefruit seed extract. A small study once showed that eating fresh grapefruit every day led to slight weight loss in obese adults, but that involved the equivalent of about 1.5 whole grapefruits daily. The tiny amount of grapefruit seed extract found in OxyShred is nowhere near that. Green coffee beans are regular coffee beans that haven't been roasted yet. They're rich in a compound called chlorogenic acid, which is often claimed to help with fat metabolism. Most of that evidence, however, comes from animal studies, mainly in mice, and it's not clear that the same effect happens in people. A few small human studies suggest green coffee extract might lead to very slight weight loss, but there's a catch. These extracts also contain caffeine, which already helps a little with weight loss on its own. That makes it hard to tell whether any benefit comes from the chlorogenic acid or just the caffeine. On top of that, the doses used in studies are typically over 500 milligrams per day, far more than what's found in OxyShred. Guggul is a resin taken from a tree that grows in parts of India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. It's been used in traditional medicine, but when researchers tested it on people who are overweight or obese, it didn't lead to any meaningful weight loss. Huperzine A is an extract from plants like Chinese club moss that affects a brain chemical called acetylcholine, which is involved in memory and focus. In people with Alzheimer's disease, this can sometimes improve memory and thinking, but for healthy people without memory problems, it doesn't appear to do much at all. Inulin is a type of fiber that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. In people with prediabetes, taking inulin every day can lead to small amounts of weight loss. The problem is that the effective doses are huge, often around 30 grams per day. That's the kind of amount you mix into multiple meals or smoothies, not something you get from a single scoop of a supplement powder. The tiny amounts found in OxyShred are nowhere near enough to deliver those effects. L-Glutamine is an amino acid that often shows up in workout and weight loss supplements, but it doesn't live up to the hype. Studies in athletes show it doesn't improve exercise performance, and research in people who are overweight or obese shows it doesn't improve weight loss or body mass index either. Tyrosine is another amino acid that's often added in hopes it will boost energy, performance, or weight loss. In reality, studies show it doesn't improve strength, endurance, or exercise performance. It may help with focus and mental sharpness during stressful situations like cold exposure or intense workouts, but those effects only appear at doses of several grams per day. OxyShred contains far less than that, so any real benefit is unlikely. OxyShred includes mango seed extract, but this is not the same thing as African mango seed extract, which is the version sometimes used for weight loss. Despite the similar name, these ingredients are completely different. Even African mango has only weak evidence behind it, and regular mango seed extract has no evidence at all to support weight or fat loss. While olive oil gets most of the attention, olive leaves are sometimes used in supplements too. One small study in people with metabolic syndrome found that olive leaf extract slightly improved some markers of metabolism, but it did not lead to weight loss. On top of that, the doses used in that study were much higher than what you'd get from OxyShred, making any real effect even less likely. Raspberry ketones were once hyped as a miracle fat burner, especially after being promoted on television more than a decade ago. That hype came from lab and animal studies showing they might help mice release fat from fat cells. The problem is that those effects were never shown in people. As real-world users tried them and saw no results, their popularity collapsed. So despite the flashy marketing, raspberry ketones have never been proven to help humans lose weight. Taurine is an amino acid found in foods like meat, seafood, and eggs, and it's often added to energy and workout supplements. Some studies show it doesn't improve endurance at all, even at fairly high doses at around 5 grams per day for a week. Larger studies suggest it might offer a small endurance boost for some people when taken at doses between 1 and 6 grams per day. But again, those are large doses, and the small amount found in OxyShred is unlikely to make a noticeable difference. OxyShred Ultra Concentrated will likely give you more energy, mainly because it contains caffeine. When it comes to actual weight loss though, caffeine is really the only ingredient doing anything meaningful. Many of the other ingredients sound impressive, but either don't work, only work at much higher doses, or have been shown to not help at all. Things like bitter orange, olive leaf, and raspberry ketones are often marketed as fat burners, but the science simply doesn't support that. Others like acetyl L-carnitine, B vitamins, and taurine are supposed to support exercise, yet either don't improve performance or only do so at doses far higher than what's included. By cramming so many ingredients into one product, OxyShred ends up delivering tiny, ineffective amounts of almost all of them. Add in the use of proprietary blends, which hide the exact doses, and it becomes even harder to know what you're really getting. OxyShred Ultra Concentrated costs around $30 for a month's supply at 1 scoop per day. If you wanted to recreate the parts that actually matter, you could do it by combining caffeine, Garcinia Cambogia, and taurine. Caffeine costs less than $1 a month, and adding Garcinia Cambogia and taurine would bring the total to roughly $7 to $11 a month. You'd essentially get the same benefits for a fraction of the price. Rating OxyShred Ultra Concentrated by effectiveness for weight loss, I'm giving it a C. It works about as well as drinking 1 or 2 cups of coffee, so don't expect much unless you're also exercising. Rated by cost, I'm giving it a C. The few ingredients that matter can be bought much more cheaply on their own. Rating for safety, I'm giving it a C. The caffeine dose is not insignificant, which can cause problems if you're sensitive to it, and some ingredients like bitter orange can interact with medications. Overall rating, I'm giving a C. It's not something I'd recommend for most people, but if all you really want is a caffeinated pre-workout drink, it will feel similar to other heavily caffeinated weight loss supplements, just in a tastier, drinkable form. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Young. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, please share it with them. Finally, if you enjoy what we do and want to learn more, consider supporting us on Ko-fi, and be sure to check out our other socials as well.